Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Student, and thank you for allowing me to share a few minutes with you. Today I'm going to be discussing credentials, your credentials actually. And credentials aren't the cadre of letters after your name, A, B, C, D, D, C, FAS, etc. It's not that. Credentials are the citations in your CV, and they're critical. They're critically important. And when we look at what's indigenous to chiropractic versus medicine, it's quite different. Because in order to get into residency through after medical school and fellowships, you have to submit your CV. To get into internship into chiropractic, you just got to show up with a white coat on. We don't need to do that. It's not really within the fiber of our profession, and it needs to be. Because when you deal with attorneys, you might think that a fancy report's important, a Colossus type report. That's all you need. Well, that's not true. You need credentials. Because attorneys actually judge you based upon what your credentials are. Because attorneys judge you by their end game. If you're not admissible, you, not your work, but you are not admissible. Because there's legislation in many states which state that you need to show evidence of advanced training, say in MRI or in biomechanical engineering or in electrodiagnostics, in order to even be heard in the courtroom. So, unfortunately, too many self-proclaimed gurus in our profession state, all you need is fancy paperwork. Well, that's not true. Lawyers are not wired to recognize fancy paperwork. Lawyers are wired to recognize your credentials. And in some states, an admissible credential is a hearing called a voir dire to see if they'll credential you as an expert. Or in some states, it's called a Frye hearing, F-R-Y-E. Or in some cases, it's called a Daubert hearing. Or in some, it's just called an expert hearing, where the judge actually puts you, the doctor, through the litmus test. And if you don't have the proper credentials in an admissible CV, that's the key word. That's the key. So you've got to have an admissible curriculum vitae. As a matter of fact, if we pull up the U.S. Chiropractic Directory, that's the only place where you could build your CV online. There's a CV builder. And let's pull up, I'll pull myself up. So let's pull up my CV. And let's look at the format that the CV is in. And the format's critical. Selected occupational history, education, licensure, postgraduate. And I go down a little bit. And then I get into publications and where I've been published, etc. But the format is critical. If you have in your CV, marital status, hobbies, your technique, that's a resume. You don't need that, okay? Resumes are not admissible. Only CVs are, and you will look the fool if you have a resume versus a CV. Medical specialists, hey, your credentials matter. They want to know where you trained. And a CV is an admissible document. You know who else counts or cares the most? Your patients. Because if you use this is the new business card for 2018, is your CV. Your credentials are critical. So I urge you, take your CE courses wisely. Just don't take something that's easy, because it's the foundation for your future success. And once you have a credential, it can never be taken away from you. Never forget that. So your credentials are critical. Over the period of the next few consultations or communications that we're going to have, I'm going to talk a little bit with credentials and really intertwine that into how to use it even better. But it's critical. Don't be duped into thinking that all you need is critical paperwork. I'm Colossus ready. Lawyers don't even know what it is. You've got to have the credentials. The MDs who you want to work with, the hospitals, the emergency rooms, every doctor we've gotten in, the first thing they say, I need to see your CV. They don't even want to talk to you. They want to see your credentials. That's the future. And when we look at primary spine care, where you're the first referral option for medical specialists, medical primaries, urgent care specialists, urgent care facilities, emergency rooms, and lawyers, your credentials are your calling card. That's what will lead the way. Thanks, and I look forward to doing this with you again shortly.